Well, top of the morning to you and welcome to Module 4, the 80-20 rule in action. I'm sure you've heard the phrase the 80-20 rule. Its more formal name is the Pareto principle. It came from an Italian sociologist named Vilfredo Pareto. Now, he was a man who was brought in by banks initially to do analysis of their work and their depositors, and he found out that 80% of the bank deposits were held by approximately 20% of the people. Then he found out that in real estate, 20% of the people owned 80% of the land. And then he found out, he was brought in by churches and found out that 20% of the people gave 80% of the money, or that 20% of the people did 80% of the volunteering. And he found that this Pareto principle applied in so many areas of life and business. And so it does. And that's why the working by referral system is so powerful. It's about leveraging the 20% and not shooting for the 100%. What we found is that 80% of your results will actually come from 20% of your effort. And the fact of the matter is most people they're a mile wide and an inch deep. What we want to do in the working by referral system is go an inch wide and a mile deep. It's a very, very powerful process. 80% of all transactions are repeat and referral customers in some capacity or others. There's many, many different buckets that are connected to referrals, buckets of leads that are referrals, that are repeat customers. And so what we want to do is focus on the right people. We focus on the right 20%, the A, B, C, D process we talk about. We want to focus on the right people, and we want to focus our activities on them. We want to make sure that we're doing 20% to get 80%, not that we're doing 80% to get 20%. So I have 3 main points for you as always. There are 3 mechanisms to create and maintain your database, and it's build, sort, and qualify a database. They're 3 separate things. You build a database, you sort a database, and then you qualify a database. Let's dive in. Build, by definition, means to develop according to a systematic plan by a definite process. A systematic plan by a definite process. We're trying to build something. And in this case, we're trying to build a business, and we're building a business by building a database. So I'm going to give you several levels you can get to. The first level we want to get to is 100 people in your database. Just 100 names, phone numbers, email addresses. The next level is you want to get 100 A's in your database. Now, you might have to have several hundred people come through your database to get to 100 A's. And then level 3 is when you have consistent marketing to your database. So you get 100 first, then you build it so it's 100 A's, and then you have consistent marketing. And we talked about this. We had our contact, care, and community systems. Contact systems, care systems, community systems. We know that this group here in the middle, well, that's our Pareto principle. That's where we're going to spend more time, energy, and effort. The contact systems we're going to be delving into here in the coming modules are mail, e-reports, and phone calls. That's the contact system to your database. How do you make your database feel cared for? We're going to do personal notes. We're going to do pop-bys, which are a lot of fun. And you're going to find out that there's elements of this that's work, and there's elements of this that's a lot of fun. And then we're going to leverage and use video. Then we bring it all together with a sense of community. And this is where we're going to go break bread with people, go for a coffee, have lunch, have a breakfast. We're going to have client parties, and we'll use the media. How we use media, social media, text, and aspects of broadcast video. Very, very powerful indeed. Contact, care, community. This is the what, the A plus, the A, B, C, D. This is the who. So you need to understand that the 80-20 rule is alive and well in the working by referral system. Here's some tips for building your database. First, keep adding to your personal and business database. Keep adding. Just keep racking your brain. Who else do I know? Who else do I know? Maybe who does your family know? Who do your friends know? Keep racking your brain. Next, use open houses to add people to your database. And in Module 12, I'm going to show you how I hold an open house. And then use the Mayor campaign. The Mayor campaign. Now, the Mayor campaign was used by a friend of mine by the name of Joe Nigo. And Joe Nigo is one of the biggest producing agents in all of the United States. And we've been the best of friends for almost 30 years. And Joe ran his business like as if he was running for the mayor of Chicago. He lives on the south side of Chicago. And he said, if I was running for mayor, I'd want to know who'd vote for me. And this is a picture from the early 90s when I went out to visit Joe. And Joe uses the mayor campaign. So every day when he went to work, he'd have business cards in his pocket. He'd go to a waitress or a waiter when he's having lunch, when he's going to a hardware store, he's talking to the people behind the counter. Everywhere he went, if he goes to a party or a social function, one of his kids' functions, one of maybe he's hanging out on the sidelines of one of his kids' games, wherever he met people, he'd use the mayor campaign. And it would go like this, you know. He'd be having a conversation with somebody, and so he'd say, what do you do for a living? And he would take an interest in them. And then similarly, they would ask him, what do you do? He said, well, I help people buy and sell homes. And, well, that's nice, Joe. He goes, yeah, in fact, if you were buying or selling a home, or you had a friend or family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? Now, a simple little dialogue. If you were buying or selling a home, this is a direct connection, or had a friend or family member who was, that's talking about a referral, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? That's not saying, do you know a realtor? That's not what this says. Do you know someone, like my grandfather would say, that you can put your name to? And when you put it in those terms, people get very specific and very personal. Do I know a realtor? Of course I do. Do I know a realtor I'd put my name to? Maybe not. Now, if the answer is yes, well, that's great. It's important that you have a qualified professional to work with. But if the answer is no, well, I'd like to be that person. And so, you know, from time to time, I come across some really valuable real estate information that everyone finds helpful. Would you like to receive that? Sure. Okay, great. What's the best place to send it to? Well, probably my home address. Okay. What's your home address? Great. All right. If something came up I need to get a hold of you, what's the best number to reach you at? All right, great. Well, I'm going to stay in touch with you. And if you know anyone thinking about buying or selling a home, just give me a call with their name and number. I'll be happy to follow up with them. So very, very powerful. Okay. So that's a neat way that you can build a relationship and connect with people. We call it the Mayor campaign. I'm going to encourage you to read this dialogue. I'm going to encourage you to listen to this dialogue. It's a magnificent way to build your database every day. Now, when you're just starting out, what we want to do is we have what's called the Mayor campaign. That's an alternate dialogue. So this is, you're talking to somebody, you're new to the business. They now know you're in real estate. And it's, by the way, if you were buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, am I the realtor you'd refer to them? And it's a good qualifying question, okay? So that's very, very powerful. So again, when people say, yeah, you're the realtor I'd refer, you're going to add them to your database. So when people say, no, I don't have a realtor I could refer, and you meet them cold, you add them to your database. So this is a great way to go about it. We have this on the online resource center for you, and I want you to check that out. Now, there's nothing like seeing this stuff done in action. And what you're going to see right now is actually one of our clients for over 10 years who became a Buffini & Company master trainer. Her name is Jamie Nowak. And here she is at one of her kids' Little League games. And she sits down and she meets a fellow mom. And these kind of conversations happen all the time. So watch how she effortlessly uses the Mayor campaign dialogue to build a relationship, connect, and get someone into her database. Let's see the Mayor campaign in action.
Which one is yours out there?
Number 5, playing first, Jacob.
Jacob, yes. My son Jason's number 3. He's playing short. He talks about Jacob a lot. He's a great little part of the team. We all saw that amazing hit he had in our first game last week.
Oh yeah, he was so excited about that, and we've been reliving it all week.
I'm sure that you have. I'm sure you have. I'm Jamie, by the way.
Nice to meet you. I'm Colleen.
Nice to meet you too. So what else do you do besides being a baseball mom? Because this can be a full-time job.
Oh, I know it, but Jacob loves it, so we make it happen. And I took some time off to stay at home with the kids, focus on them and volunteering.
Oh, cool. So you have a pretty full plate.
Oh yeah, and a crazy one.
And no doubt about that. Oh, wow. Great play, guys.
Let's go, boys.
You see that? That was awesome.
That's great. So what do you do, Jamie?
I actually help people buy and sell homes in our area.
Oh, that's neat. That's something I'd love to do someday.
You know, it's an awesome business. I love what I do, and for me, there's nothing like putting the keys into the hands of a couple or a family that didn't think they could ever buy a home.
Oh, totally. That's awesome.
I'll tell you what, if I can do it, you can do it.
But how do you handle the rejection part?
You know, that's a good question. I don't deal with much rejection because what I do is I work by referral. So I focus my time, my efforts on my sphere of influence, on my past clients, providing them value. I check in from time to time, give them some gentle reminders, seeing who they might know that want to buy or sell a home. And over time, I end up with a steady stream of referrals.
That sounds like the way to go.
It really is. So let me ask you, if you were buying or selling a home, or you had a friend or a family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to?
Not really. We used an agent about 5 years ago to buy our first home, but I don't think I even remember her name.
Exactly. Now that's what makes my business different, because I want to build relationships and stay in touch and provide great value long after you buy or sell a home with me. So if you needed a painter or you needed a financial planner, I would want to be the person that you call. And because real estate is always a hot topic, every month I send out helpful information on how to cozy up your home appeal or home values, even how to de-stress from your tech, which we all need. Does that sound like something you would like?
Oh, totally. That sounds great.
Fantastic. Well, why don't I grab your address and your phone number? I'll send a couple of those cool things over to you. And you'll have my information. Then if you need help with carpooling or snacks or anything this season, I'm happy to help.
That's great. Thanks, Jamie.
That'd be really cool. Oh, look, Jacob's up to bat.
Let's go, Jacob.
You got this, kid.
Nicely done, Jamie. That's a pro in action. Again, just having normal conversations, but being proud of your profession and being excited to let people know what you do and that you're happy to help, serve, and in this case, put them on your database so you can send out these mailing and marketing pieces that we have that are very informative and very educational. Now, here's a top tip for you. Keep 5 business cards with you at all times. I don't go anywhere without business cards. I have them with me at all times. Number 2, after we build, we've got to sort. So what does it mean to sort? Well, according to Webster, it's to put in groups on the basis of any characteristic in common. To put in groups on the basis of any characteristic in common. Your database ultimately has you in common, your relationship in common, and these are people who want to stay and are interested in staying connected with you and receiving your monthly items of value, the pop-by gifts that you're going to bring by, and the service that you provide. And so we talked about this before. We have A pluses, A's, B's, C's, O's for those online, and then D's, people to be deleted from your database. So watch how we do this. It's very important that we prioritize our people. The first step is you prioritize your people so that you can prioritize your time. So once I prioritize my people, I know who to spend my time with. None of us have unlimited restrictions on our day. But if I only have 25 minutes, I'm either going to see an A plus or an A. That's who I'm going to see. So we prioritize our people so we can prioritize our time. Then we get to prioritize our activities. And that's the whole system that we're talking about. Now, let me tell you why this is so powerful. This is a way to leverage yourself and leverage your influence. We use this term, sphere of influence, but what does it mean? Well, the average person has a sphere of influence, according to Gallup, of 285 people. What does that mean? Well, you have influence over people. Some you have significant influence and some marginal. But the average person could tell 285 people about a restaurant that they go to, about a movie that they've seen, about a book they recommend, or a song or a show. Hey, check out The Office. It's a great show. Those kinds of things. And you have some people who you would say that to who would do it immediately, and some people who'd be like, that's interesting. And if they heard it for 1 or 2 more people, they'd go do it. Let me show you why it's so important, your database. The average sphere of influence is 285. So remember we said level 1 is for you to get 100 people in your database? Everyone in your database approximately has a sphere of influence of 285 individually. So what does that mean? Collectively, that's 28,500 people. We focus in on these 100. We build relationships with these 100. We connect with these 100. We create what we're going to share with you called critical mass with these 100. And what happens is these people have friends, have family. They can tell them to go check out a movie. They can tell them to check out a restaurant. They can tell them to go check out a realtor. And so that 100, and that's how this system works. We do the Pareto principle on steroids here. And that is, we take this, we market to these people, we use Contact Care Community, and collectively, they reach out to their 285 people. That's 28,500. How much does it cost to market to 28,500? A lot. But this is even more powerful than even if you spent the money to market to those people, because these are folks that have a relationship right here. So one of your people can have a conversation with one of theirs, and it's an endorsement, it's a referral, and it's advocacy. That's more powerful. And that's why this is the most powerful way to leverage your business in the most economical way. It saves you money, it saves you time, but also when these people come to you from their sphere of influence, they already have a level of trust. And that's why working by referral is so powerful. Number 3, after we built and sort, now we have to qualify. Now, qualify, according to Mr. Webster, is to determine whether someone or something meets a required standard. A required standard. So, we want to make sure we have a standard in our database. And we're going to narrow down our database to these people right here. First of all, people who know who you are. They know who you are. Teddy Roosevelt said, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. They got to know you. Second, they got to know what you do. They got to know that you're in business. We have a wonderful resource for you to help you out as a newer agent on why work with a realtor. It's on the Online Resource Center, and it talks about a skilled negotiator, a local market expert, that you're part of a network, that you can give price guidance in both buying and selling, that you have knowledge of the paperwork, marketing expertise, and support after the close of the transaction. So it's a great resource for you. So that's know what you do. And then the last part is trust you. So they know who you are, they know what you do, and they trust you. You know, Peter Drucker said the purpose of a business is to create a customer. We have to make sure we don't lose sight of that. We're trying to create customers here, and we're trying to create advocates here. We want to build, sort, and qualify a database. And that's where the magic is. So how does this work? Well, Viv Kelvin from San Carlos, California, she was a home stager. She was making about $20,000 a year. As a brand new agent, she joined our coaching program, and within 3 years, she's making $250,000 a year. I just love this. You know, someone who's making 20 grand a year, barely making it, putting her heart into being a stager, gets into a different side of real estate, and now here she is, making $250,000 a year. Now, she talks about the very systems that you're getting exposed to. She goes, I love Referral Maker. I'm running my business like a business and not a hobby. My clients love my monthly mailing and look forward to receiving it. And that's what I want you to understand. These mailings that we've given you, your clients and your database are going to really appreciate them. And so it's all based on value. And I'm excited for you once we really get cooking with this thing. So to recap, we talked about build, sort, qualify your database. The magic of this Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. We talked about the goal of qualifying your database and what goals we want you to have and the levels to get to. And then we covered, most importantly, the mayor campaign on how to add people to your database. And if you were running for mayor, who'd vote for you? Now remember, education without implementation is simply entertainment. So here are your training action steps with the real estate ready tasks. First, memorize the new agent dialogue. Practice and internalize the mayor campaign dialogue. And then on real estate ready tasks, make sure you have a working laptop or tablet. And make sure you have a smartphone that has unlimited data. Boy, are you sure going to use it. Okay, well, that was a really full week, 4 big modules. But now we've set the tone. Now we've set you up for where you can really start getting to work. In Module 5, we're going to show you our contact systems, which are really going to start generating some leads, generating some interest, and putting you on the map towards your 100 days to being a very capable, successful realtor.